Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing the Thailand Pass. For those who are unaware, when this all began back in March 2020, the emergency decree was promulgated. We had to start dealing with all these myriad new restrictions, presumably temporary. But later on, the Certificate of Entry, or COE, proved to be pretty cumbersome. And they rolled out the Thailand Pass system, which is arguably better than the COE, but you know, it shades of gray. Yeah, it's degrees better in terms of efficiency. But I was reading a recent article and it made me decide to make this video. The article came from ASEAN Now, that's ASEANnow.com. Article is titled, "Improvements Being Made to Thailand Pass for Convenience of Travelers." Quoting directly, Bangkok NNT, that's the National News of Thailand, National News Bureau of Thailand. So I think ASEAN Now is translating this. But Bangkok NNT, quote, "Faults with the Thailand Pass system are being addressed as some delays in approving travelers' Thailand passes have occurred. Improvements to Thailand Pass services are being made to improve the experience of users and provide travelers with more convenience. A new entry pathway called TPHS has now been approved and promises to cut the time travelers need to spend with Thailand Pass." So they've created another layer of bureaucracy to improve things, which, okay. I would posit this. Maybe the best improvement to the Thailand Pass for all concerned would be the end of the Thailand Pass. You know, that's just one man's opinion, but I fail really to see what it's doing at this point with respect to, you know, if public health and safety is the issue. I mean, we're doing all these tests. Test is required to get on the plane. You know, the airlines can verify that. And then these folks, even in the test and go situation, you've got a day, you arrive, you get tested, you spend a night in a hotel, then you wait 5 days, you get tested again. And my question is, where's the value add of Thailand Pass in all of this? You know, going back to the Certificate of Entry, there were a lot of questions there. But one, it was earlier on in this thing when I would argue we had less knowledge of what a threat that this whole thing poses. And now I think pretty safe to presume the threat is not the existential one that was being laid out or we were all hypothesizing on when this started. Leaving that aside, you know, I really do question the need for it at this point. I mean, it just seems like an extra amount of bureaucracy, which is quite frankly clogging up the pipeline of prospective tourists to Thailand. I mean, I think it's really time to re-examine this whole visa before the visa, or even, you know, this whole process of making someone, you know, I remember years ago, I said, look, Thailand, the bureaucracy can be off-putting to foreign nationals when they have to deal with it. But most foreign nationals didn't really have to deal with it all that often because the immigration system, they only dealt with it once in a while. And also, and this is key, it was relatively easy to get here. So we had a lot of tourists and tourism flourished. Now, it's like we've sort of exported the bureaucracy and imposed it on the very people we should be encouraging to come most. Now, I understand the policymakers that be have a balance that they're trying to maintain. But at a certain point, especially 2 years on, we're getting to, from the promulgation of the original emergency decree, I think it's time to really ask ourselves, do we need the Thailand Pass?